Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs. We are Mallet and Michelle, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and no denim shirt, Steve Mallet today.
Just did it for you, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm wearing kind of a spiffy sweater.
A penguin
today.
shirt.
It is a penguin shirt.
It's not a sweater. That's just a shirt.
No, this is a sweater.
A sweater is
God.
woven. That is not wove. It's not. It's a cotton shirt. It's not.
And here we go. Hey, our guest today. Boy, that didn't take long for you to start picking on me. Jeez.
Look at my face. My face is even red.
It's so funny. All right, our guest today is Will Rivera from the Dripping Springs City Lifestyle magazine, which all of you have probably seen that magazine. It's a beautiful magazine. Michelle has one in here. Maybe hold it up for our Instagram.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. The photography and just the pages in this magazine.
The quality of the magazine is really high quality. But Will, who started that magazine here in Dripping, is going to join us here in a little while. I wanted to give a shout out, one of our sponsors. Let's do our sponsors real quick. Show today brought to you by
Nomic Power Solutions,
Jovi Belterra, 55 plus community living,
South Star Bank, home of the rodeo clowns,
and Mallet Integrity Team Real Estate Professionals. Couldn't do the show without all of them. But I want to give a shout out to...
I mean, we could, but we would be... We'd suck.
Oh, yeah, that's without a doubt. Yeah, so thank you for that. I want to give a shout out to Jovi in Belterra, who is a sponsor, but they had Elvis in the building Friday night.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
You know what? When I heard that he was coming, we were going to go over and have dinner with my dad, and I was like, oh man, an Elvis impersonator. And we showed up, and I started listening, and then we went. It was in the bottom floor, and we went down, and we started watching. We had so much fun. He was so good. He didn't look that much like Elvis, but he had all the mannerisms, and he threw himself into every song, and he was doing the whole, the scarf around the lady's necklace. There's these, 80-year-old ladies, and they're just swooning over this guy as he's singing, Love Me Tender. And it was really fun. We had a great time. He got people dancing. He did a conga line. And then near the end, I can't remember what song it was, but...
He did a Congo line?
Conga. Isn't it conga? Conga line?
Congo?
Conga. I think it's conga.
It's discombobulated.
Discombobulated
Congo.
Michelle. All these ladies in the audience, he was singing a love song, and they all put their cell phone flashlights on, and they were like swaying to the music in the audience. It was really fun.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I had a good time. So that was the way we kicked off our weekend. But Jovi, they're doing some cool activities over there, and that was one that was unexpectedly a lot of fun.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hey, let's clear up a couple rumors that are happening around town.
Yeah.
Well, kind of clear them up, I guess. Let's start with Dreamland.
Yeah. Have you figured out what's going on at Dreamland? So I saw something yesterday at on the neighbors page. Somebody said it's a Walmart. It's not a Walmart. It's not a Target. It's not. And then somebody said it was a Buc-ee's, which I thought was pretty funny. I think it's going to be a strip club.
Oh,
no.
Well, we know it's not Target because we think Target is looking further east, kind of more close to Belterra, which Target is looking out here, but I don't think Dreamland would be the place for them to go. The west side of Dripping Springs doesn't have enough traffic yet for a Walmart or
no,
Target.
not into Dripping Springs. I don't know. I mean, how many acres is it?
Well, there's multiple tracks. I think the big part of Dreamland is like 30 acres. So I would imagine that it's got a ding here somewhere. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know who ding that is.
That is could be maybe an apartment complex, something like that. It'd be a good location for that. I don't know if they have access to city sewer out there yet, but if it was a big enough apartment complex, they could certainly afford to run sewer out that far. And if the lawsuit ever gets settled with the city and the SOS that allows them to expand the wastewater treatment plant, then they'll have enough capacity for something like
Yeah,
that.
I just hope. I saw somebody. It was Johnny with Barton
Oh,
Creek
yeah.
AC. Johnny was on there, and I told him quit his bitching. He was talking. He said that the new 12290 is the new Y&O kill. And
God.
it is.
Yeah,
if you
that's
think
true.
about it, it's
Yeah.
like it's a cluster bleep right there.
All the time. I
all
know.
the time. So the other rumor is the HEB. Now, we first heard that HEB was going to be building, they were going to be removing the shops and building where the shops are.
The little shopping
And
center
then-
where the jewelry store and Thundercloud, they were going to tear that out. That's what we heard.
And
at
then they
first.
were going to put the shops on the other side. Now, what we've heard is they are going to fully take out the HEB after they build a new one right next door to it. And
on the east side.
And it says the expansion would help serve the growing population of Dripping Springs, which is located about 25 miles west of Austin. I like it when they say 25 miles west. We're not that far.
No.
And last year was the fastest growing suburb in the Austin area, according to data tracked by the Austin Business Journal. Dripping Springs had a population of 8,689 in 2024, up from 7,050 the year before, a 23.3% increase. They purchased the land right next door where the house was, and so they're going to build the HEB there, and then they're going to remove all of the shops because that's going to be part of the parking. Now,
Really?
yep, I don't think there's going to be any shops anymore. I don't
Wow.
know. So I don't know.
Well, they did that at Oltorf, Congress and Oltorf.
That HEB is that the bougie, the big 2-3-story
Yep.
HEB?
That's
really cool.
3 stories, I think, and then I think there's a parking garage down below. But yeah, they had the older HEB kind of catty corner to that. They left that kind of as a small store. No, take that back. There was the kind of rundown one. They shut that down. They tore it down. Then they opened kind of a small store, catty corner to it, while they built the new store. And the new store opened up a little while ago, and it's really nice.
Yeah,
So that's what we're going to have. We may have one of those 2 or 3 story HEBs.
Wait, somebody
here in Dripping
did
Springs.
say that. Somebody said that it was going to be, I don't know where I saw that it was going to be 2-story. Don't quote me on that, but quote me on it.
It could be. It's allowed in Dripping Springs.
Yeah.
But, Thundercloud and the Jack Brown and who's the liquor store? Is it Twin Liquors over there?
I think Twin Liquors.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
and
Hill Country.
Ranch. They'll
Yeah.
have to go find someplace else. But hey, a couple things. You just went through a big home remodel. Yeah.
I still have PTSD. Right now I'm getting wallpaper put up in
lovely.
my breakfast room.
Well, a couple things I wanted to talk about real quick. I saw this isn't really connected to my story, but I saw a headline the other day that I read. The real estate market, a lot of people don't realize how depressed the real estate market has been.
Depressing or depressed?
Both. Yeah. Actually, we didn't have too bad a year last year.
No.
But I saw a stat, the National Association of Realtors, which almost every realtor in the United States is a member of, reported that 71% of their members last year did not close a single deal. Did not close one real estate transaction in an entire year.
You said that yesterday to me, and I was like, wow, that is crazy. But then I also remembered that, like, the last time I was in an Uber, he told me he was wanting
I know. Yeah.
to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, you
So-
figure probably 40% of those are like people that, were helping people locate apartments while they were in college and things like that.
I could see that, but I cannot even imagine trying to do this job part-time with all of the current changes, legal changes that have happened. That you have got to be in the know about what's going on.
We're full-time real estate professionals, and it's hard for us to keep up with everything and not make any mistakes. And I'm helping some of our team. They're asking me questions about things that we should know, but we haven't done it enough because it's brand new. I'm kind of learning as we go. Yeah, somebody that does even 1 or 2 transactions a year, I don't even know how they could keep up.
Yeah, and you need to get in with a group like we're in Dripping Springs Elite, so that
you can
network and bounce ideas off of each other.
So I found this article on marthastewart.com.
Oh.
Yeah, 11 home features that will decrease the value of your property.
Okay, throw them at me. I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah. So the first one is superfluous upgrades, meaning things like multiple fireplaces.
Say that again, superfluous?
Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Say it again, Michelle.
Snuffleupagus.
Superfluous. That's a pretty cool word. Superfluous. Okay.
You threw a lot of words at me today. It's hard.
All right. Multiple fireplaces. Like, you know, you have a living room that has a fireplace, and then between the kitchen and the living room, you have a double-sided fireplace, and then you have one in the master. Like too many fireplaces.
I guess it depends on where you live. Okay.
Yeah. Too many kitchen sinks and excessively large showers.
Ooh. Okay. So that's
the shower
is that all
would
of
be.
them?
No, that's number 1 of 11. So
What?
that's superfluous upgrades. That's things just like doing things just like having a shower that is 12 feet by 12 feet just because you have the space for it is ridiculous.
That's a ditty shower.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't go there. All right. Here's number 2, heated floors. Those do not add value to the overall worth of your home.
I don't know. Heated toilets are my favorite. Number 1.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I said
Okay.
heated floors. Nobody gives you when you go in, somebody's going to buy it, and you go, well, it's got heated floors. They don't go, well, I'll pay $10,000
Not
more
in
for
Texas.
that. They don't do
No,
that.
not in Texas.
All right, one of a kind technology, meaning like some super high end stereo system that's cool today.
No, because
that
the
will
next
be
owner's
out.
not going to know
That's
how
right.
to use it.
Won't know how to use it, and tomorrow it'll be out of date. A converted bedroom, that would be. I really hate this whenever we see this. Converting a walk-in closet into a bedroom or a garage into a bedroom, that will decrease your home value.
Oh, okay.
So open concept layouts, those are actually kind of going a little bit out of style.
I heard that people are liking more of the compartmentalized living areas, but I still do my living and my kitchen are open.
I think open to a point.
But I don't
right?
want like full on open.
I think some people got to the point where you walk in the front door, it looks like a warehouse.
No.
There's no interior walls. So I think this can add and make your home more enjoyable, but not necessarily add value as a pool. So, we've had a lot of people that moved here from California that wanted houses with
Everybody
pools
wants
because it's
pools.
120 degrees in the summer.
But I think pools are great. So
yeah, well, I knew that. Bold colors.
yeah, that's the new. Actually, that is the trend this year. Is the bold colors.
Well, they don't help you sell your house, and you don't get more money for them. So, saunas do not add value. So, if you have a built-in sauna, like in your master bath, your primary bath. See, I made that
That's
mistake.
weird.
That does not add value. High-end finishings. I kind of didn't agree with this too much. Like, some of the real high-end appliances, like stoves and microwaves and dishwashers, I think those add value. This says that it actually says a lot of the high-end toilets don't add anything to the value.
You know what? I added something that is 2 things that people have walked into my house currently from being remodeled. They're like, ooh, I like this. One is I upgraded to all brass light
Fixtures?
fixtures. What are they called? On my light switches.
Oh,
on my light
that's
switches.
cool.
And they're unlacquered brass, so they'll patina over time. And then the other thing is I got these brass fasteners that are on the corners of my baseboards.
Oh,
And
that
so
sounds cool.
they just sit like when you're vacuuming and you'll hit the corner and it chips. It sits there on the bottom of it and it's a little decorative. And
That's cool.
it was like $50 on Amazon. I
Oh,
got
there
a
you
little
go.
packet of them.
Amazon. Here's 2 more. Elaborate landscaping, which I definitely agree. Like having a landscape that's
can be
really hard to
intimidating.
take care of. Yeah, like a lot of plants and trees to trim and all that. Sounds cool.
Manicured, but not
but
elaborate.
fountains, all that kind of stuff sounds great, but somebody has to take care of that. And then wall-to-wall carpet doesn't add any value.
Wall-to-wall carpet out. Ugh.
Yeah. So
Yuck.
those are things, if you're thinking about upgrading your house, avoid those things. There's a lot of other things you can do that will add, like going from a tile countertop to a solid surface countertop will add a lot of value to the house.
That's true.
Things like that.
True. Steve, you have lived all over the world. You were
have.
born across the pond, and you went to high school in Spain, and you had some really cool adventures. But you've been in Texas now, what,
22 years.
20-something years, yeah. So, but when you lived in Homestead, Florida, did you really kind of consider that the South? When you lived there?
No, I always, the South, whenever I hear the South, I think Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, like that. That's what I think of when I think the South. North Carolina, South Carolina, that like that.
Well, like I'm a South Texas girl. I always say I'm a South Texas girl, but like Southern girls are just built different. It's just
Without
in
a
our
doubt.
DNA. We are just built different. But there, at any given moment, apparently, according to this article, there are 3 things that a Southern girl will always have. Three things. Guess.
Okay.
See if you can.
Oh, God.
As far as her appearance.
As far as her appearance.
First one.
Long hair.
Well, first one is at any given moment, her hair will look incredible.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
You know, so if the rest of your life is a mess, your hair is going to look incredible. Okay, so the second one are your nails. Your nails are going to be impeccable. That would be, and it doesn't have to be at the same time. And then the thing that I always have on are earrings. And I sleep in my earrings. I
Really?
swim in my
Doesn't it
earrings.
bother you to sleep in them?
It doesn't at all.
That's funny.
No. And the bonus was having lipstick on. And my grandmother, it brought me back to my grandmother. My grandmother always said that she could just look like a hot mess, but if she didn't have her lipstick on, like she was never put together. And when the sad part of this story is when we were getting her ready for her funeral, I had to go find her lipstick because I was like, I cannot have my grandmother not in her lipstick when
no
she's
kidding.
buried. But yeah, Southern girls are just built a little
It's
different.
funny
And we need
too, yeah, because you can be out like on a hike or something, and all those things can be true.
You can, yeah. I mean, maybe not all at the same time, but yeah, most definitely. But yeah, I think it's just
You don't think
it's a Southern girl thing.
Girls up north or California do all that?
Well,
Is that particular only to Southern girls?
I think that maybe the stereotype is like California girls, Southern California girls are overly obsessed with their appearance. And so I think the premise of this article is you can be in sweatpants and look like ass, but your nails are going to be done, or your hair will be done, or you'll have lipstick on, or you'll at least have earrings on.
I think the other thing that Southern women tend to have is a little bit of sass. Which
I don't know. I don't identify with that.
Yeah, right.
I don't identify.
I was reading this story the other day, and it was funny because somebody did this to me, and when I read this story, it really hit home. Have you heard of the term boomer asking?
Boomer asking, like if an old boomer asks me a question?
No. It's when an expression of interest becomes a chance for your colleague to brag, complain, or share about themselves. So it would be, say,
like a boomerang?
Yes. So I ask you a question so that the topic can come back to me.
Oh, you do that to me every day.
I do not do that to you every day. I think I'm a pretty good listener. You cannot be a good podcaster and not be a good listener. Now, it would be like, well, actually, it would be just like this. It would be somebody came in, sat with us, and we were interviewing them, and you asked them, so what do your kids do? And they tell you, and the whole reason and I'm not saying you would do this, but the whole reason you asked is so that you could tell them about how great your kids are doing.
Well, I think that, I mean, oh gosh, maybe am I guilty of this? Okay, tell me what the definition, like go.
I just did. It's an expression of interest, and I act like I'm interested in
but
something
I am
about
interested, but I also like.
This is different than people in a conversation where they're
being
sharing
relatable?
about themselves.
Okay.
This is the intention is the intention of the question is to get you to a point where we can talk about me, and it's double-sided because not only do you start to feel like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But you actually feel betrayed when that happens. Like you showed interest in me and I opened myself up to you. And then now I'm discovering that all you're doing is making it about you. And it's a very common faux pas. And I think it's more common amongst younger kids these days who want to talk about themselves, who feel very important on social media. You know, if you think about it, 80% of what's on social media is people bragging about themselves. So a lot of these younger kids are asking questions just so they can get to the point where they can say, hey, check me out.
I think I think it goes back to I'm not actively listening to you. I'm just waiting for you to stop talking so I can tell my story.
That's exactly what it is.
And yeah, I've probably been guilty of that,
I think everybody
been a
is.
victim of that.
Well, yeah. Well, we've all been victims, and we've all probably done it to a certain degree.
I'm a victim.
Yeah, right. But when you are talking with somebody, if you really want to build a relationship built on trust, then ask them sincere questions and listen to what they have to say.
Yes, Steve, listen to what I have to see that.
Well, not for you. I'm not doing that with you. I'll do that with other people, Michelle. But anyway, I save yourself some trouble. Don't boomer ask, especially in the relationships you really care about.
You know what? I don't think now there's probably a story. I don't know. It's very rare that you and I hear an original story from either of us.
Well, yeah. That's probably true.
Unless it's like current, unless something happened currently.
Yeah, that's true.
But
if I tell you anything about me growing up, you'd be like, yeah, you told me that 12 times.
No, but I'm always interested and I'm fascinated by it. I love to hear like the nuances. Okay, so when I was in California 2 weeks ago and I was sitting across from Todd's boss and he went to China. I think I had talked about this a little bit. And I was fascinated by his story. And I kept asking him, I was like, he was talking about the food and I was like, what were the notes? What were the flavors? What were this? And I was like, and I was peppering him and I felt like I was interviewing him. He was like, what am I on a podcast?
I find myself doing that all the time, but I'm sincerely interested in what people have to say. I want to, the people that have sat in this chair next to us and told us the things they've done in their lives and the experiences they've had, I've learned so much. And I want to hear that from everybody because everybody has a story. Everybody has something interesting about them.
That's true. Well, speaking of stories, I have got a story for you. Okay, so do you know it's like late 1990s, early 2000 band Fastball?
I know this song, but I have never heard of the band Fastball.
I'll play this song.
Is it turned way up? I'm not sure.
I don't know if you'll be. I don't want to play it too loud because I don't want to get it I don't want to get copyright. Okay, so this is the song. YouTube. Yeah, this is the song called "The Way," right? Okay. Well, okay. I did not know that Fastball was an Austin-based band. Did not know this.
I did not know that either.
Did not know this. And so this was one of their top charted songs called "The Way," but it is based on a true story, and the true story is like crazy. So, they were looking for ideas to write songs. I'm going to turn it down so I don't get distracted. They were looking for ideas for songs. And so one of the lead singer, his manager said, well, why don't you just, read the newspaper and see if you can come up with some stories, just by reading the newspaper. And so he did. And he ran across this story about Leela and Raymond Howard. And they were from Salcedo, and they were going to Temple to Pioneer Days, which is like something that they did every year. They were very, very excited, it was just a tradition that they did. Okay. And they were in their 80s. I think Howard or Raymond had brain surgery like a couple of months prior. And Leela, there were signs that she was probably getting dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. And so it was in 1997 when he read this story, and they headed out to Pioneer Days, and when the nighttime came, their kids couldn't get a hold of them. And their kids kind of always checked on them. They could never figure out what happened to them. So he so he's reading this story in the Austin American-Statesman, believe it or not. And one of the lines is, anyone can see the road that they walk is on paved in gold. It's always summer and they'll never get cold. They'll never get hungry and they'll never get old. Now, this trip that they took to Temple was at max 15 minutes, right? Okay. The way the story keeps going is they end up driving to Arkansas. Now, the fact that they drove to Arkansas, and somewhere constantly along the way, they got stopped by a police officer because their lights weren't on. I think they stopped and asked for directions. Their kids can't even figure out how they got through the Dallas traffic and ended up in Arkansas. And apparently they had some family up in Arkansas, but none close enough that they would just drop everything and go up there. So it wasn't until about 2 weeks later, a kid is walking home from school and he's by a ravine and he smells something horribly, right? And they find the car it's about day 13. And the family was very grateful because a lot of times, especially when you see, these Amber Alerts or these what is it Amber Alert for adult?
No,
is it Silver Alert?
Silver Alert.
Silver Alert.
Yes.
That a lot of times these people aren't found, right?
Right.
So the family was very grateful that they were found. But then this song comes out, right? And it is, and it's a chart topper.
Yeah.
Somebody in their family listens to the song and goes, "Oh my gosh, this sounds like Grammy and Grampy. Like this sounds like the story." And it turns out it is.
It was written about them.
It was entirely written about them. This song charted, what was it? I said 1998, so
98.
24 years ago, almost 25 years ago.
So Fastball is the band, and The Way is the song. So if you want to go on Apple Music and pull it up, or Spotify.
But I think one of the fascinating things is, number one, I thought that I had no idea that they were Austin. They were an Austin band, and they were kind of stuck in this like college realm of music. They couldn't get out of it, and until they wrote this song catapulted them, and it made it was a platinum album, and so on and so forth.
I did not know that.
But it's the story about the Howards and how they went missing.
The whole process of writing music fascinates me. That like I was listening to a song on Pandora the other day, and there was a line that "Rain on a Tin Roof." It's gosh dang it,
Tim Graw.
No, it's a woman. God, I can't remember her name. Anyway, and I thought the word tin, picking the word tin in that instance, just is so much more romantic than saying rain on a metal roof or rain on a roof. And so the whole idea of picking these words that evoke emotions in songs is really cool. I wish I had that talent. No, it's I don't know. She's got a very sexy voice. Dang it. It'll come to me. It'll come to me later when we're off.
Yeah, it will. It will actually come to you. I was driving to work this morning, and I heard Ty Meyer's song "Ends of the Earth," and I was talking to our coworker Cedric the other day, and I was like, this kid is 17 years old, and the lyrics that come out of this kid. Now, granted, he has writing partners and teams and stuff like that. And there's a whole machine in Nashville that are helping.
That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
But this kid is 17 years old.
Writes lyrics like he's a 60-year-old man with a whole life experience behind him and all these things that have happened.
It's funny, like on social media, when I'm reading the comments and they're listening to Ty for the first time, and they're like, "Wait, he's how old?" Like, I thought this guy was 30 years old. Like, even his voice. And I told Cedric, I said, it's going to be cool to watch how his voice changes over the next couple of years. Yeah. Because, it'll get
He's
deeper.
Still in puberty.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nora Jones is who I was
Nora
thinking of.
Jones. Okay.
There's a line, "Rain on a Tin Roof." Anyway, I have a real quick story, and then we're going to wrap up and get Will in here. Got a thing going on. We're at near the end of it. 88% of the people in the country that make a New Year's resolution don't make that resolution last until February.
Be like me and don't make them at all.
Don't make resolutions at all. So one of the things that happens a lot is people get gym memberships, because one of the most common resolutions is, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to lose weight. Those kind of things. Yeah. And so I've been seeing this at the YMCA, and I wanted to point out a couple of things maybe that would help people keep their resolutions. These are gym faux pas and how to stop the regulars from hating you.
Sweating on stuff and not wiping things off.
There you go. There's one right there. I saw a guy was on the elliptical sweating so much that there were puddles on the ground when he was done.
That's how you get a staph infection.
Yeah. Well, he got off and walked away from the machine. I was like, dude, no, that's gross. See, nobody wants to use that machine the rest of the day. That's one of them right there.
Okay, that's another reason why I couldn't, because I would be like, dude, come wipe your sweat off.
Yeah.
Is that a faux pas to yell at people in the gym?
You can say things politely. It is a faux pas to yell.
Oh. Okay, I would politely yell.
Yeah. All right, here's one that drives me nuts. Don't hog machines while you're not using them. There are people that they will do one set, they knock out 12, and then they sit there for 10 minutes on the machine for 10 minutes on Instagram checking their feed or whatever. Don't hog the machine. That's
hogging a machine.
Yeah, because you're not working out. You're stand
resting.
up. You can rest for a minute or two and do your second set, but don't sit there for 10 minutes. Don't hog the machines. And the weights too. I've seen people, they collect like 25 weights on around a bench, and so nobody else can use them. No influencing. Stop taking pictures of yourself when you're at the gym. Nobody cares. Clean up after yourself. Socialize somewhere else.
Oh.
So yes, there are.
No,
Yes, there are
no. There are people that go to the gym and that's their social hour.
Well, that's okay. It's when there are like 20 people standing around talking and they're in front of the machines, they're in front of the weights, and they are basically stopping everybody else from being able to do their workouts.
You're a gym snob.
I am not. This is not my list.
You
I'm
are
actually,
a gym snob.
Yes, I am. Earbuds.
Okay.
Don't take a phone call in the gym without earbuds on, and don't watch videos with just the sound on. Saw that the other day too. Don't take half-hour-long showers in the locker room. You don't need to take a half-hour-long shower.
There's a lot of rules at this gym.
There's no rules. These are just, you just be polite to the people around you. Those, you know, you think
I don't
about,
like rules.
Yeah, I know that. You know, a lot of people go in the gym and they've got 45 minutes and they got a whole workout regime they want to do. And if you're hogging their machine, or there's only 2 of the weights that you need to use, and somebody else has them next to their bench that they're not using for 30 minutes, it disrupts your whole day. Just kind of be aware of what's going on. It
disrupts your whole day.
Disrupts your whole workout.
Your whole day is ruined. I
misspoke, Michelle. You got to give me a break. No, it just disrupts your whole workout. So, like a lot of times, I go in and I mean, right down to the minute. I'm like, I got to walk out of here at 7:45. If I'm not done, I don't get it done. So,
okay. So if someone sees you in the gym, okay, that you don't want someone to talk to you.
No, I'm okay with that. No.
Wait, they can talk to you, but they can't stand by your equipment if you're not. I need the rules.
No, this happened to me the other day. I was trying to do my workout. There was 5 guys standing behind me having a conversation, and it went, and it was not a, hey, how you doing? How's your year going? But it was a 10-minute conversation, 3 feet behind my head as I was trying to do my bench.
Oh, see, now that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's my point.
I will
That's my
agree.
point.
I'll agree with that.
I do that. Hey, Carl, how you doing? You good? Your swim workout this morning? Okay, yeah, have a great one. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm not antisocial. I'm talking about, if the gym should not be your place to go if you really want to go to a bar. How's that? If you want to go someplace and socialize, go someplace where that's...
Therefore, I will go to a bar.
And you'll be happy. Yeah. So
because there's no sweating in a bar.
There's no sweating. That's not the word I thought you said. All right. Well, we got to take a little break. We went a little long on that monologue, but we're going to get Will Rivera from the Dripping Springs City Lifestyle magazine in here. So sit tight. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of being left in the dark when the power goes out? Say goodbye to blackouts with Nomic Power Solutions.
As your full-service Generac dealer, they offer individually designed backup power solutions.
From start to finish, they've got you covered.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Nomic Power Solutions. Protect your home, protect your family, stay ready. Southstar Bank has remained true to its Texas roots for over 100 years. A commitment to the people and communities they serve, along with flexible financial solutions, allow their clients to shine. Mortgage loans, checking accounts, or complete business solutions. Southstar Bank is your financial partner. Southstar Bank, trusted by professionals, backed by tradition, built for Texas.
SouthstarBank.com. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender. NMLS 410624. Find your joy at Jovi Belterra. Life is better here. This vibrant 55 and up community is located in Dripping Springs, just right outside of Austin. 1- and 2-bedroom homes, resort-style amenities, and just steps away from shops and restaurants. Forget the yard work. This is your time to relax, make new friends, and enjoy the life you've dreamed of. Find your joy at Jovi Belterra. Life is better here. Live JoviBelterra.com, 737-387-6870.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallet Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at malletintegrityteam.com. And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome back. We are here with Will Rivera, owner and publisher of Dripping Springs City Lifestyle magazine. Welcome, Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate
We've been
it.
trying to get you on for a while.
Yeah, you were supposed to be on and then you got sick.
Yeah, I got sick. That was quite a
I
while
know, it's quite
back
a while
now,
back,
yeah.
and then got you back on. And so we've had Mrs. Hafner on, which she's an amazing person, amazing photographer. You have a really good staff over there at Dripping Springs City Lifestyle.
Yeah, we do indeed. We do indeed. That's obviously a significant piece to this puzzle is getting the right people on the team.
Yeah. How long have you lived here in Dripping Springs?
So I've been part of the community in Dripping Springs since 2017. We in the ETJ, I guess is what you would say,
Yeah.
not Dripping proper. I'm off of 1826 out there in Reunion Ranch. So, but Southwest Austin since 2004.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So,
Long
yeah.
time. You're almost an old timer now.
Yeah. Not necessarily drip proper, but we're all in on this community since we moved here. And
Where'd you grow up?
Friendswood, Texas, just outside of Houston.
Houston.
Oh, so you're a lifelong Texan. You're born and raised.
I was actually born in Puerto Rico, so I was born in Ponce, and very quickly after, I think I was 2.5, 3 years old, moved to the Galveston County.
Which side of the island is Ponce on?
So north, kind of more central,
North Central. My son lived in Agodia.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, he was
Beautiful.
stationed there.
Yeah,
That's where he was stationed.
yeah.
But-
It's a beautiful island, but unfortunately, we didn't have the means to be going back and forth growing up, right? So I'm pretty Texas cultured versus Puerto Rican culture, and they make sure to remind me when we do go.
You're Puerto Texan.
Yeah, that's a Texan. So my name Rivera is all over the place on the island. It's just so when we go there, it's like, hey, is it Rivera or Rivera?
Oh, Rivera.
And then they'll be
Rivera.
like,
You got to roll the R's.
yeah. Well, because they're about to communicate with you in Spanish. So, and I understand Spanish.
But
pretty
Puerto
well.
Rican Spanish is way different than what I kind of grew up in. And
yeah.
it's very, very different. Tate used to tell me, my son used to say that it sounded like half the time that they would talk with marbles in their mouth. It was a different type of Spanish.
It's a different type of Spanish. And my mom, they spoke to us in Spanish growing up, but didn't actually really push us to speak back in Spanish. So I understand it well, but she also didn't ever finish a full sentence in Spanish. It would be
Half.
half
A
Spanish.
mix, yeah.
That's kind of growing
Yeah,
up
I've
in
seen
South
it.
Texas too.
Yeah.
What brought your parents here to stateside?
I work. My dad was a pipe fitter in the plant. So obviously Southeast and Houston area, there's countless refineries and plants. So it was Clute, Lake Jackson area, Brazoria County, and then ultimately the Galveston County, Houston area.
So you graduate from high school in Friendswood?
I went to Clearbrook High School. So Friendswood has a couple of different schools. Friendswood is its own school district,
Okay.
but Clear Creek Independent School District is where we went.
Did you do any sports or anything in high school?
Sure, yeah. I played football, played some basketball, ran track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you do when you graduated from high school?
Well, I turned down a couple opportunities to go play football and track because my high school girlfriend was a sophomore.
Oh, the old girlfriend.
Yeah, my dad
trick.
didn't talk to me for a while that first year out of high school. So I went to Blinn to stay relatively close. She graduated a year early so that we could go to Texas Tech together. We broke up before Rush was even over.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so yeah.
Lessons learned.
Lessons
learned for
Did
sure.
you graduate from Tech then?
No, so I actually did not graduate from Tech. I was there. That breakup was a little dramatic because you reflect back on all the decisions you
Sure.
made, and so fall 2000 was when we were there and did the whole fraternity thing, and realized pretty quick that that's not the ideal scenario for me. I love Tech. I was going to Tech, and I took a break to go actually join the Marine Corps. I woke up one morning, very cliche, 20-year-old in Lubbock, partying. I think we probably drank every day for 6 months in a row.
Your liver was like crying
Yeah.
for help.
And so it's as cliche as you can get. A commercial came on, and it was a Marine Corps recruiting commercial, and I had a buddy who was in the Marines at the time. And I actually don't remember how we all communicated back then. I mean, like, I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
I don't remember how I had his number. but I got a hold of them.
MySpace.
No, MySpace didn't even exist.
Do you have a quarter?
I barely had an email at
You
that
probably
point.
called them on the landline.
It was definitely a landline. I just don't remember how I got in touch with them so quick, but I did. And I kind of just said, hey, if you can connect me with a recruiter, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And I'm still hungover. I'm still, excuse me. I'm still, getting over last night. And I still remember his name. Sergeant Brown called. He's out of Houston. And I was like, if you can get me out of here in 30 days, I'll join the Marines.
What'd your parents think about that when you told them you were joining the Marines?
I mean, they were, it was 2000, so there wasn't any real conflicts going on yet.
Oh, geez.
And
Yeah.
so when I signed up, I told them I'm going to do the reserves. And so you go from, in the reserves, everything is the same until you're done with your MOS training. And then you either go to the fleet or you go back to your community.
You were in Camp Pendleton, right? So you were in San Diego,
Yeah.
right? That's where you went.
Yeah, Texas. If you sign up to go to the Marine Corps, you're going to go to San Diego. Call it Hollywood Marines. That's where you go to boot camp. Everybody else goes to Parris Island on the east side, on the East Coast. And so 30 days later, I mean, he said it was impossible. And I was like, well, then I'm not going if you can't get me out. A week later, I was in Houston doing the physical, doing at the MEPS, doing the ASVAB, all that stuff. And 30 days later, I was in San Diego. And it's interesting because the first, when you're processing, they ask all of these, recruits who's going to be going through detox.
Yeah.
Like they think that you're escaping things. Yeah. And in my mind, I was like, well, I've partied and drank every day for the last 6 months. I'm probably gained 35 pounds since I graduated high school. I raised my hand. I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to go through withdrawals.
Oh, wow.
My body didn't miss anything.
Really?
Nothing. No, I had no withdrawals. I shed 30 pounds within the first 6 weeks of being in boot camp, and it's not terribly physical. A lot of people think that. It's not. I mean, there's physical aspects, certainly. It is 100% mental.
Mental, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so...
Are you allowed to leave the base during... not at all.
Boot camp. Did you do that boot camp down there right by the airport at what's it? MCRD?
Yep. Marine Corps Recruit Depot.
Yeah, yeah.
So every day, all
That's
day,
where the
all
Coast
night.
Guard station is too.
That's where you see all the planes taking off, coming in, and
you got some guy in your face all day long yelling at you.
Yeah.
They're just trying to break you, right? Isn't that what they're trying to do? Is like get you down to where they can mold you into the guy they want you to be?
Yeah.
Or
we started with 63 recruits in our platoon. We graduated, I think, 31. The thing about the Marine Corps, they're not specifically boot camp. They're not just going to let you leave. So it's that hard that people are going to try to quit very quickly.
They get out of
they'll just stop and say, I refuse to train.
So what happens to those guys?
Various things. I mean, they go to the brig.
Oh, wow.
Because technically they can keep, I don't know if it's changed, right? This is 2000, but they could keep you on base. And the administrations impact some of these, policies, but they could keep you on base for 12 months.
yeah, because you're owned by the United States government.
That's right.
You actually signed a contract when you got in there. So
it just comes down to what was the reason. If we had some guys that broke a finger, broke an ankle, they get sent home right away. And those typically are the ones that, really want to be Marines. And it's kind of a heartbreaking thing. Now they'll let you try to heal in the medical platoon. But if you're not healing fast enough, they just kind of make the call and send you home. So
did you get
send
care
you
packages?
home like you're out of the Marine Corps?
you're out of the Marine Corps. And
really? I didn't know that.
you could probably get waivers and try to get back in. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, you can. So I don't know how that works when you're injured in boot camp and you leave and do you have to come back? But recycling is it's like a really bad word in boot camp. Like if you get recycled, you can be on. I mean, it's 3 months to become a Marine. If you're on day 75 and something happens, you can get recycled and go back. I mean, so that was a journey. I turned 21 in boot camp.
Did you get care packages from home? Did your mom send you anything?
Not in boot camp. Boot camp, you get letters.
Yeah, I would send letters. No.
You don't want to get any love
because
from home. They
that
don't
was-
want any kind of special stuff.
Well, that was the thing. It was
They
like,
take that.
yeah, try to make your letters just as nondescript as possible. And then there were people like they would send, on the outside of the envelope, crazy things, and those are the kids that would get targeted.
Yeah, that was 100% me. I was nicknamed Smokey in my platoon because I would get smoked daily for a long period of time, which smoked is you have a drill instructor that's in your face and he's saying jumping jacks right now, push-ups right now, crunches right now, steam engines right now, and you have to change whatever exercise he's yelling at you, which is why I lost 30 pounds and so quickly. You're on 3 squares a day. You're only drinking water. Everything is very consistent, and you're getting smoked. So I say it's not physical as far as the training goes and the schedule of things, but it is physical. I mean, but it's best. They're trying to break you down.
Yeah,
I get it. And once you get to a point in understanding that you actually can't do anything right, even if you are doing it right and doing it well. When you understand that was the pivotal moment in boot camp where it all changed for me. It's like, okay, drill instructor saying, hey, go get me a mop from this closet. Okay, I go back. There's no mop. I run back. There's no mop, sir. Screaming louder, get me a mop from the closet. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that I'm missing it 3 times. And finally I go back and I grab a little stick and I put a towel on the end of it and wrap it up with a rubber band. Come back, mission accomplished, sir. Towel. Mop. Thank you, recruit, and moves on. So you started to figure out, I was like, okay, you can't run fast enough. You can't do anything to meet their expectations because that's the point until you start getting closer
until
to
you get it. Until you get it. So what the transition, you were reserved for 3 years, right?
No. I was a reservist very short period of time because boot camp, you go home for 10 days and you go straight to combat training. Combat training is 2 weeks. From combat training, you go to your MOS.
Uh-huh.
After your MOS is when you go back. Well, my MOS, which was 3531, operator, just a driver, truck. And frankly, the reason I chose that at the time was just because it was the shortest MOS school. I wanted to get back to tech before the fall semester of 2001. And so that's when I got back in mid-August of 2001, which 3 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. September 11th.
So what happened from after September 11th?
Yeah, so that was obviously, chaos. I had 3 roommates and we were at our house and a buddy came banging on the door that morning and we all spent the next, 12, 14 hours glued to the TV. We didn't know what it meant. Again, I don't remember how even the reserve unit, which was in Lubbock, got in touch with us, but I think that a week later reported in and nothing happened that quick, right? Like the mobilization took a while outside of like your special forces. Those guys were probably within 24 hours doing something. And you do learn that in the military that there is always something going on, whether the public knows about it or not. So it took a little while. It actually took another 18 months before we were officially mobilized, our unit. Obviously, it's the Middle East, the desert, so 3531 operators were a key MOS to be out there, and they mobilized.
So did you go to Kuwait?
Initially, yeah. Initially, yeah. So in January of 2003, we were in Kuwait, basically just staging and getting everything kind of ready to. This is, if you remember, when the inspectors were over there. And,
I do.
Like that's when all that was going on. But when you saw the border, you knew this was going down. But
we had Jay Maselli on.
Did you go into Iraq? Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had Jay
March 8th.
Maselli on, and he was talking about being in one of the palaces, one of Saddam's palaces, and got a book from there, and just the time, like the surrealness of being there. And the way people were living, and there were certain people that were very happy that you guys were there, and there were people obviously that weren't very happy that you were there.
If you remember, I mean, there was little to zero resistance on March 18, 2003, that was the general invasion. Special forces and grunts had already gone in a few days before, and it really had no resistance all the way up north to Baghdad. But they were finding the Republican Guards uniforms and, stacks in schools and hospitals and places that we don't attack. And so you knew that they had now kind of just dispersed into the general public. And that is what was kind of the most troubling thing, is you didn't know who was happy. You didn't know who was angry. And you go, driving through these parts of Iraq and Basra, Nasiriyah, and all these towns that you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah. Did you have a particular hairy moment that you remember that you want to share with us?
Yeah, we'll keep it lighthearted. I mean, I think there were certain moments, right? I mean, you see things you never thought you'd see.
Yeah.
Hear things, smell things that just never leave you. But from my perspective, it was nowhere near what some other military guys go through. I mean, it took me 17 years to even file a claim with the VA after my time in Iraq, because of the mindset that I know there were many, many others that did so much more. So it's a spectrum as far as how that goes.
Well, so it's a pretty far jump from being a Marine in a war zone to owning a magazine.
Yeah.
Tell us about that
gap.
experience. Like, how did you one day wake up and go, I want to have this fancy magazine?
No, that's not how it went down at all. I was pretty resistant when City Lifestyle actually reached out. But yeah, I mean, after the Marines came back to actually Austin, and one of the gals that was a friend of mine up at Texas Tech had, stayed in touch and was writing while I was over there in Iraq. I originally thought I was going to be a screenplay writer. I wanted to go to, so all Puerto Ricans typically have some association or funnel through New York, the tri-state area.
Okay.
I grew up in my summers from 11 years old to 18, going to my aunt's house in the Bronx and spending a lot of just awesome, amazing memories in the city, and always thinking that I was going to move and live in New York till you get older and realize, no, that's not really what I want. But I had all this money, quote unquote, money from Iraq that I think it was like $9,800. Thought I was rich.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And so I bring this gal with me to New York to register for the New York Film Academy. That happened within 3 months of me coming back from Iraq. Like, I was trying to move fast.
Were you able to would you have been able to use your GI Bill for that, or?
I don't think so. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, I just wanted to
pursue your dream.
Coming back to this country after being over there, unless it's a real surreal feeling. Literally, I can't explain it. I mean, again, the cliches of you will kiss that ground, you will have a sense of just appreciation for what we have here, and so I was just on fire to kind of make some moves, do things. I turned 23 in Baghdad. I wasn't, I just didn't have anything restricting me from doing whatever I wanted, and I had $9,800. So, and after flights and all that stuff, I was getting lower quick. But we ended up, actually becoming into a romantic relationship pretty quick. She got pregnant unexpectedly with Isaac, my oldest, who's now a junior at Texas A&M. And she was a Westlake High School graduate. So here we are. I end up in Southwest Austin. That's how I ended up.
So you ended up coming back.
Yeah. So instead of being at the New York Film Academy, I was working for $12 an hour at a law firm downtown Austin when the Frost Bank building was still the tallest building.
And no longer have the $9,800.
No, that was gone real fast. So, life came really quick. And so it was within a blink of an eye. I'm engaged. I leave the law firm. I'm now working for Isaac's mom's stepdad at the time. They purchased a house. They also purchased the wedding ring, the engagement ring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there had to be some tough decisions real quick.
Your life was being planned out for you.
100%.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately, Megan and I did make the decision to do this as friends and separated, kind of from that romantic lens, I guess, to we're going to co-parent.
Yeah.
And we actually moved back to Houston, made the decision to break up while we were in Houston. It was a temporary move. Isaac was about 18 months at that point, and that's where I met my wife, Karen, at the time, who's from Santa Fe in the Galveston County area. So within, I think, 6-7 months of that breakup, I was now in a relationship with Karen, and she didn't even meet Isaac for 9 months. Like I wanted to make sure, that this was, I'm not just going to bring random ladies around my son. And
Isaac is flipping thriving.
Yes,
he's
a
at
great
Texas
kid.
A&M, and he has his own company, Lucky Sun Company, which
Lucky
is
son, yeah.
It's amazing what those kids are doing. So it's Austin Novosed, Keller Stafford, and Garen Duncan, right? All
What are they doing?
So they launched their own little apparel business.
Oh.
They did it last year. I think Isaac called. He's like, we're over here at Austin's house trying to figure out how we're going to get rich. And we're here for spring break for a little bit. And I was like, okay, dude. But they came up with a great concept. It's a great name. It's a cool product. And
I'm seeing it all over. I think, I don't know who it was. Who was it? It was Scott Friedeck, right?
Yeah.
He was at the Key West Music Festival,
Mile Zero
and he was
Festival.
wearing his Lucky Sun hat.
Yeah, no, Scott's obviously a massive supporter of anything local. And that's the thing about this community. They'll rally behind you if they know kind of what's going on. And so the boys are, it's interesting because Austin is still at Oregon. Mm-hmm. Garen is at Yale. Isaac and Keller are over in College Station, and they're doing all that, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
How are they managing it being so far away? Do they have somebody here locally that's managing inventory, or
they manage the inventory in College Station, actually.
Oh.
So that's where they have their storage, and they'll ship out the products. And
good for them?
yeah. I mean, they got to figure out their margins, but they're
Well,
getting
yeah,
there.
but I mean,
You can make a lot of money if you have one of those brands that takes off.
They
you
just
can
got to
have
stay
a lot.
with it.
Yeah.
And that's the instant gratification culture of, you need that
Yeah.
outcome instantly, and you're used to getting results instantly
Yeah.
with technology. It's like, that's not how that works. But the boys are all busy. I mean, they're going to school, they're doing things. Isaac's in a serious relationship. and
Austin's probably going to go pro.
God willing, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of unknowns with them, and it's going to be up to them to decide if it's a passion project that they did for fun, or if it's going to be something that they really, really pursue.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's really cool.
So circle us back
Sure.
to how you ended up owning a magazine.
Yeah. So ultimately, I did start a career in sales, and that process is I think it's a significant decision to go into any kind of sales, any type of professional sales. I unfortunately started, unfortunately, however you want to think about it, in copier sales. And
Oh boy,
you talk about PTSD from the military.
that's fun.
The PTSD from my time in Iraq is nothing compared to PTSD.
Was that here in Austin?
Copiers. No, it was in the Houston market. It started in the Houston market.
When I used to work up front at a lawyer's office, the worst were the copier sales guys,
yeah.
and I just felt so bad for them. That they would come-
It's so transactional. It is so contingent on basically, does a business have a copier that has just died, because you're not replacing copiers a lot. And I went 6 months, I didn't sell anything. I found myself kind of hanging out in Jack in the Box way too much, because I was just killing time. But I kept at it, and I got a pretty significant deal across the finish line with Lockheed Martin that
Oh, sweet.
opened my eyes, I think, to the more rejection that you have, the more opportunities actually you're going to get, the closer you are to kind of hitting your goals. And there was that moment where I was like, okay, the more I hear no, I'm actually closer to being successful. And
To the
that-
next yes.
The closer you are to a yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty interesting perspective. Right
Yeah.
there.
Well, it was forced perspective. So, and
There's only so many $3 or $1 3 tacos
Yeah.
at Jack in the Crack you can eat.
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot you can eat over there. I haven't eaten since I haven't eaten in a long time. But that pushed me into a career in sales and went to telecom. From there, that's brought me back to the Austin area. Was being able to work for Sprint on the telecom side, the business to business. But it also, that was around the time 2006, 2007, 2008, where schools were starting to get outfitted with technology to really build out the network so that students in the classroom can actually use the internet more efficiently.
Yeah.
And we were part of that process, right? The telecom companies. And so I kind of started realizing, man, it would be a lot better to be selling products or services to the school districts that are student facing.
Hang on a sec. Will.
Yeah.
Is that up? All right, we're back. We had a little technical error there. Somebody outside making way too much noise. So, Will, continue your thought.
Yeah. So just wanted to get on the student facing side of sales. And, I wasn't the best student growing up. I had a lot of behavioral challenges, I think, in middle school. I was told, and I believed my principal at the time, that there had not been anybody else in the history of that in middle school that had more in-school suspension days than I had.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a lot, and it was painful because in-school suspension at that time was, 2 partitions beside your desk. You face the wall. It's above the gym, so all day you're hearing basketball, volleyball, and everything. It's psychological kind of warfare then at that time, but that was. I spent a significant amount of time in ISS, and even in elementary school. 5th grade, the field day kind of where you go out and compete and do all this stuff at the end of the year. It's like the best time. 2 different years in elementary school, I was not allowed to participate.
Wow.
Will, why were you so disruptive?
I did not like to sit in a chair for a long period of time. And
do you think now maybe you had ADD or something like that?
Absolutely. I was hyperactive. I have, 2 more sons in addition to Isaac now, and my 10-year-old is just like me. I mean, it's just a different culture now than then. It was just get out of the classroom back then and, stick them wherever you can to just not be disruptive. Now, my empathy towards teachers after getting into the education technology world and understanding what they go through to plan a day and plan a class, and it's down to the minute, and they spend 30-40% of that time.
You're like,
I was
a jerk.
It makes complete sense on why I would be, dismissed to ISS. But it was always silly stuff. That's the thing. It wasn't violent. It wasn't any criminal type things. It was, I just was too hyperactive and disruptive, and I have a vivid memory of intentionally getting in trouble in middle school just because I had the crush on the office aide during my math period. So I would just go sit in the office and talk to her for the, hour.
I've seen kids like you. I recognize that kind of.
This is not anything I expected from you. This chaos kind of in your life that you were self-perpetuating. Because what I've seen with this magazine is this very refined and super together Will, and so now I'm learning all kinds of things.
But you were probably very
It's about
social.
the journey.
Yeah.
You were probably very, very social also, right?
I mean, look, that was a key aspect to my behavior. Was I was over social, I think.
I have seen it on social media though with him because we're similar, because we're smartasses at heart, and a lot of people don't get his sarcasm.
Yeah.
When I'll see him respond to stuff, I'm like, oh, he's just being a smart
It's
aleck.
subtle now. I mean, I've tamed it down since launching the magazine. My behavior on social media has gotten better because I am an opinionated person.
The more eyes you have on you, the more careful you have to be. Is the thing.
Yeah. It's it's just more of. I to Michelle's point, I don't want my tone and my sarcasm to get lost in translation of like straight disrespect, and it's just sometimes the way I engage, and so that the journey of figuring out how to use the talents that I was born with for better and for good things versus my own amusement or whatever, or trying to impress people that really didn't care that much about me anyway. that was a journey, and the road was filled with all kinds of chaos, and yeah, sometimes it's what actually brought me to know God. Is it didn't make sense that I was still alive in different scenarios. So the journey was very interesting, and when I did lock in on finding a company that would hire me to do sales for education technology, I was really good at it because, again, I could just really lock in on the value of what some of these products were built to serve, why they were built to serve, which is to really just change up the way the pedagogy in the classroom is and make it easier for students like me. I mean, I'd give speeches in front of superintendents and start it with, I grew up resenting and hating y'all. These are superintendents across the country that, very successful, all PhDs, and I don't really care about titles. I don't really care who I'm sitting with. If we can have a conversation and we have a alignment on what we're trying to accomplish here, then we could do something special. And so that worked really well. And in 2019, I found my way to a really executive position with a company out of Arizona that had a really interesting vision on creating more hybrid school models and working with districts that didn't have full virtual programs for students that needed more diversity in their education.
Right before.
Oh yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, so
right before COVID hit.
Let's just say sales resistance at the beginning of that journey of, because you're bringing the private sector to partner with the public sector, right? And when you're doing that, there's so much red tape in that industry. There's so many boundaries that you got to play within, and we were trying to, create something that wasn't there. In Texas at the time, fully virtual was really it wasn't allowed unless you had like specific
health challenges or
districts couldn't create their own virtual school. Like it had to be its own entity. And you can register. I don't even remember the names anymore, but obviously COVID changed that, and the conversations changed really fast on, now we can use all of your services.
And we need it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but, at the same time, there was just some conflict at the executive level that when you come from that kind of grunt sales mindset, you're out there hustling, you're part of sales teams, your empathy is strong for the field and what's going on out there. So when you get to the executive table, that whole perspective is very different in that it's the big picture and comp plans and things that you're putting together to hopefully create a really strong team with that, motivational piece of compensation. Well, we had some conflict and frankly, I pushed back really hard on a situation where one of the sales guys had earned a big commission, and it was right there in the comp plan, but it was new for this company. And essentially there was just some conflict on, we're not going to pay that out. And I was like, well, then this isn't going to work out with me. Ooh. My last day was March 9th of 2020. 5 days before the world started to shut down.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the CEO of that company, who's still a friend and mentor, we left on great terms. He gave me a great severance, and again, a blessing in disguise because, he gave me almost a year severance, and 5 days later, everything shut down. So all the quarantine, I'm at the house. I had no burdens or fears or I had the time and the runway to figure out what my next move was going to be. So, we had all kinds of stuff going at the house. We just built a pool. It was, I think, the most ideal scenario outside of the fact that Karen was pregnant and baby Zane was going to be born in July of 2020. Oof. So that was a little chaotic, but we did it at a birthing center and I was allowed to be there. And my wife is a badass. She never took any medicine for the two boys she gave birth to. She's unbelievable. So ultimately I did end up in the higher ed sector with a local company, Civitas Learning, for a VP of sales position and working in the higher ed market now, which was pretty painful. Not a lot of consequences when some of that leadership doesn't perform or meet expectations. And that started to just be more difficult for me to accept. And you see big time salaries of people in these leadership positions that I'm not saying they didn't earn those opportunities, but anything that is federally funded and you're paid that way and you're not performing or you're not meeting the community's expectations of these institutions, and there's no consequences, you can get demotivated pretty quick.
Doge.
Yeah.
Doge is coming.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Did you seek out City Lifestyle, or
No,
was
so
it?
they reached out to us, and
So they're a franchise so they have pockets of these magazines. Kind of all. Is it all over Texas, or
it's all
is
over
it?
the country actually?
Okay.
So City Lifestyle found me on LinkedIn. I think there were probably several, those emails, those recruiting emails that people will get, and they're pretty, standard, probably driven by a bot at some point, and then if you engage. But it was just, Karen and I had been thinking about potentially doing some kind of franchise or something. We didn't want to start anything from scratch, but we wanted to build something that could be community-based, that could keep me off an airplane. I was traveling probably 3 days a week, which is why we built in Reunion Ranch, because it's so close to the airport, but still drip ISD. And so I took the call, and I was like, okay, well, let's see what this is about. And I was like, it's 2022, like February of 2022, magazine. What is it? What am I going to do with a magazine? How are those profitable? How are those something that you can sustain a family and take care of yourself with a magazine? But it did open my eyes, and I started paying attention to what was in the community, what was in the market currently, the different structures of the magazine business in general, print business, monthly versus bi-monthly or quarterly or annually, distribution versus stacking across locations, like all of these different components to a publication. And then, what is the structure of City Lifestyle, and the heavy and rich content component of how they structure the business was the most compelling piece to this, right? I didn't want to be an ad salesperson. I wanted to look at this and say, how can we become storytellers of our community that's growing, right? I didn't, I'd describe it often, Dripping Springs is kind of an accidental affluent community. It just kind of became,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Became what it is. And we're seeing the clashing of a couple of cultures right before our eyes, right? Over the past few years, some with resistance, some with open arms. Folks that have been here for a while are receiving this growth in a different way. And it was interesting on, could this be sustainable? How would the community receive it? And we took the chance, and, there wasn't a lot of exposure for me to do it, in that, hey, if it didn't work, I wasn't $200,000 out. I was, a handful of $1,000s out if it didn't work. And I had a vision of, could I replace at least 75% of my salary, not my total comp, salary, within 6 months or by January of 23. Yeah.
And you had to just kind of build from scratch, right? You had to find, and you're also now the new kid on the block coming into a rather kind of, the world is still kind of relatively in turmoil, shut down per se. But there's existing publications that have been here in Dripping Springs for a long time. But what sets you guys apart, I think, really is you truly is what the name says. It's a lifestyle journal almost. And you do on print what we do on a podcast, where you're telling someone's story.
That's right. And again, we did not know what to expect. Karen is a realtor in town. She does well. We have a lot of relationships. We thought we had relationships that would help get this thing launched. Yeah. You're having conversations about an idea, right? You didn't have a physical product to show them that was, that like we have now. I don't remember how we launched this thing. We had 6 total founding partners that were all cold calls. I mean, it went back to the roots of, hey, if I didn't go through the world of the copier sales back in the day, would I have been able to sustain the rejection going into launching my own type of business?
So the franchise model, did it set you up and say, okay, you need to have these parties, you need to have this is all stuff you came up with. So
because I didn't want to be an ad salesman, right? And I needed to create something that would be fulfilling, and the fulfillment piece of this business is the storytelling, but it's also, which was initially a byproduct that was not foreseen, it's the community networking piece of it, that the relationships that have come from this publication have had profound impact on me and Karen and our families and
the community
and connecting other people together. Like that's what evolved really quick, and we understood these business owners are busy. They have families. They care obviously about the community, but they need some nudging on, hey, we're going to be a part of something that I am going to amplify the hell out of nonprofits in this community. We're not going to highlight. We're not going to spend our energy and time featuring businesses and featuring nonprofits that are not part of this community. And so the folks that we were founding partners that were giving us insight into, hey, these are nonprofits that we support, right? Like Keith Lee's told us about Foster Village and Hill Country Rally for Kids and the Burke Youth Center. And then obviously there's a lot more, but those initial ones, Patriots Hall was in our founders issue as an article there. Like these, we started to really identify who we were going to be early, which helped us in that we are going to support the nonprofit community. We are going to collaborate and have some kind of events. And when you launch a business or like even a magazine, you have a launch party, right? And City Lifestyle really encourages publishers that once you're launched, have a launch party, invite your partners, bring people. I was like, well, we're going to wait 5 months. We waited till the 5th month to have our launch party, which ultimately we called, the Love Thy Neighbor Gala. And I'm pretty sure you guys were there at the first one.
I was going to say, it was weird for us because we've both been out here a long time and you invited us and
who is this guy inviting us?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. We show up and there was 3 or 4 other people that we knew because they've been in the community for a long time. And we were all standing around this table going, who the hell are all these people? You brought in people that came out that we'd never interacted with. I don't know if those were new people or if those were,
Yeah, and that it is a human business for us, and I can't emphasize that enough. We've had the vision was again that how can I make this a fulfilling business and not just something that's transactional, and so everything is very intentional. Our partners aren't the partners that we pursue, the partners that we have in the magazine. There's nothing by coincidence. There's not a, we do our due diligence. They do theirs, obviously. But that idea was, when we do bring people together, are there shared values? Are there shared passion for community? And the answer has been, there's a lot of that. With these business owners, and now we're just providing the conduit for storytelling, but also the conduit to bring them physically together and collaborate and be able to, you support this nonprofit, you support this mission, you're doing this, and before you know it, they're doing business together. They're now referring each other in complementary industries and things like that.
Well, you're also, though, and we kind of had this realization maybe like after the first year or so, you start to realize that you do have you have a responsibility almost to like us, to your listeners and to your readers. And there was this realization that Steve and I had where it was like, oh, we're media. Yeah. Like you get to a realization like, okay, we were kind of yucking around and let's just see, this is fun. Let's take 2 microphones and make fun of each other for an hour. And then all of a sudden, and you have, 2 basic sheets of paper with a bunch of information in between it. You're media now. And I know that when you had the health and wellness, it reminded me, and there was a pretty significant celebrity death that happened. I remember your article being quoted from things that I was seeing in social media, and so that was kind of interesting too.
That was a tough situation, right? I mean, that was January 23, the health and wellness, our first health and wellness issue, and we do everything in the rear, right? So right now it's January 28th, and we're full on working on April. Yeah. So we're always in the rear. What happened and what transpired there is just a gut wrenching kind of just, wow, it was really tough to the Hollis family, obviously, and the community, and for us to have had Dave on the cover of the January Health and Wellness issue, and I saw him actually a week before his passing at church, and you just don't know. You don't always know what people are going through in their life, and I think that that really is just another opportunity to remember people are going through things. And if you take,
isn't that the truth?
You take some time to really think about the human aspect of what we're doing here. And there's nothing, to me, there's nothing more important than relationships, my personal relationships, my professional relationships. Because to your point, Michelle, not just the fact that you're media and we're influencing in any kind, whether it's positive, whatever, it could be subjective on how
it's their story.
That's it. And you have to honor it, and you have to do it, with the most integrity. And so I looked at reflecting back on the January health wellness issue of January 23 with Dave on the cover as just an example, an opportunity to remind that, hey, talk to your people, check in on your people. Don't ignore things that you probably feel are going on. But it also allowed us to tighten up our due diligence process and really, again, there's no way we would have known.
Yeah, you can't predict something like that. But I think it was very interesting to me in the sense that it took something, an abstract concept of a magazine, right, and it made it very personal, right. And it's like you see the guy in Mazamas, or you see him at HEB with his kids or whatever, and then you have TMZ talking about it, and it's like, man, this is just a father with his kids.
This is a guy going
so
through it.
Yeah, this is just somebody, and your story allowed to really kind of get a little window into that, even though it was, you sat there and you didn't release the episode after it had happened, or the magazine after it happened.
It hit the market within a week.
Yeah. So
And people forget all the time where everybody's dealing with crap. Everybody's going through crap. It doesn't matter how on the outside they look like they're doing. Everybody's got it. The ups and downs of life affect everybody, whether you're worth $1 billion or just barely getting by. We all have it. So.
And I think you've really started. I'm starting to see it too, and maybe some of your I keep saying episodes. Sorry, in your editions. Your faith, and you have really kind of talked about your faith and how you've leaned into your faith. And I saw that also you were a missionary in Haiti, or you worked with the church. And tell us about that kind of eye-opening experience, and what was the big takeaway from that?
Yeah, so the journey is long, right? And when it comes to where people are at with God, and there's never certainly no judgment on my part, no, on my own personal history. And the journey started for me was when my mom was diagnosed with cancer in November of 2008. Ultimately 19 months later, she was gone. Oh. She was a very faithful person. I saw her go through not just life being faithful to God, but the process of, hey, you're now her time was pretty clear that her time was coming up soon. And seeing her go through that and the strength she had, and then her ultimate passing, which I was holding her along with my 3 sisters, all holding her when she passed in the house we grew up in. That it's interesting because people will always, whether they believe in God or not, that they like, well, yeah, you lost someone, so of course you're thinking about it at that time. But that is the time of your deepest weakness and your deepest kind of insecurities of, is this it? Is that really, like, I just had 30 years with her and that's a wrap? Yeah. Like, no, there has to be something more. So it's a decision. And 6 months later, I was baptized with Lake Hills Church at Central Christian Church in downtown Austin. And it was in December, and the heater broke on the water. Oh, God. So I knew that. I was like, okay, this water's 50 degrees. Am I about to do this? I get baptized. And it started the journey, the process of, I have Isaac, he's 6 at the time. What kind of man am I going to be? What kind of dad am I going to be? And then things just started happening. The church said, hey, we're doing a mission trip to 5-day easy to Haiti. It's not, I wasn't really worried about the journey or anything like that, but I immediately was like, I want Isaac to come with me. And Isaac at that point is 2010. He's 8.
That's a good age to do that.
Excuse me, 2012. Yes. Well, yeah, I thought, and the church was like, well, we've never had kids come on this. It's usually adults. And I go, but we're going to an orphanage. Like, why wouldn't we have kids come? Ultimately, they were like, look, we'll trust your discernment if Isaac wants to come. So here's Isaac. He's 8. It's 2012, and it's all adults. He's the only kid. Well, we get there, and I mean, look, this was I think a year and a half, 2 years after the massive earthquake that killed 300,000 people in Haiti. It's in Carrefour, the orphanage that we supported, and so it's right in Port-au-Prince, suburb of Port-au-Prince. It was a game changer, right? You show up there, Isaac, what he saw with his own eyes, the resilience of the people, was just I knew that, okay, this is it's never going to be the same for me again. Ultimately, we ended up supporting and going back and forth between 8, 9 times over the next 6, 7 years before.
And Isaac, would he go?
Oh yeah,
with
Isaac been there I think 7 times total, and then we ended up, we didn't separate from the church, but we started doing, because we would post our trips on social media, right? Like, unbelievable. And then you got people reaching out like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to go there. I want to try this out. Like, I don't know what it is. We ended up taking our own groups and people getting to go and experience these amazing children. And it was an orphanage where it's not, people think missionary, you're going to go work and do all this stuff. Phil, who was the director, who has since passed, and he was a very close friend of mine, who it was his property. He founded this orphanage. He's like, man, if you come here and just hold my kid, one of my kids, the whole weekend, you did what you're supposed to do. Oh. We don't have the bandwidth to hug and hold and give the way that we want to. And that's what this mission work was, is you go there to play, hang out, color, let them braid your hair, whatever it was. But let them
be kids.
Yeah. And allowing my 8-year-old at the time to be kind of that little nudge that the church needed. It ultimately became 50-50, 50% kids, 50% adults traveling to Haiti. Obviously, what's gone on down there changed everything, right? It's almost a fallen state, the chaos, the assassination of the president. We stopped being able to go back. But I did always have a commitment that when Cruz, who's 10 years younger than Isaac, was 8, that we would get him on a mission trip in some way. And then, again...
I took my son Colton, who's 29 now. When he was 8 or 9 and 10, I took him to Mexico on a couple of missions, and he still talks about it. It gave him a perspective in life that he didn't realize how blessed we were in our life. Not only to live in this country, but the house we lived in and the clothes he had. These were kids that he played soccer with a deflated basketball, because that's the only ball they had, and they were happy to do that. But he got to see. So it's a hard age to see it, but it's one of those things you build a life on.
It is, and it's also the opportunity to have the mindset that you don't need to feel guilty about what we have. You don't need to feel like you've done something wrong or that shamed of what we have in this country or what we have at home when we go there. It was, no, this is your opportunity to just show some love. That's it. And that impact on those children, you may not ever see it. You may not ever, but it's there. And so that journey, Isaac now is, I don't know if he's going to end up, a pastor or anything like that, but I do know is this kid is leading worship at Sigma Chi fraternity house at Texas A&M last week. And I had never seen anything like that. I was resistant to him joining a fraternity, and all of a sudden, he's playing a guitar that he learned to play on YouTube, singing songs about God and Jesus and in fraternity house. So you don't know where that journey
a lot different than when your experience in the fraternity house, for sure.
That is such an understatement. Yeah. But it's all forming a belief system that we are here for people. We are here to serve people. And the idea that we have been able to launch a business that is built on that very real principle and belief. City Lifestyle is aligned in values. Obviously, the mission statement is to give people their God given gifts, right? Empower them to use those God-given gifts. And that's what we try to do. That's how we built the team. We've been blessed to have amazing women that are part of this team, and some men, mostly women, that are contributing writers and things like that. They have to love this community. They have to just be engaged in this community in different ways. And it's a lifestyle gig. It's not just a lifestyle magazine. Like, we want to have fun. We want to be inspired. You're not going to get, you'll see that there's some faith-based content as far as someone's personal beliefs, but we're not going to write and promote religion. We're not going to write and promote politics. You don't have to believe in God to be an advertising partner with us.
Yeah.
But you might be impacted by the people that do believe in God, and that, that's it's an inspiring thing. The content is intended to be inspiring, uplifting, and relevant.
What I find is it's content that draws us all together, rather than the world today seems to be filled with content that divides us and makes us further apart. And your magazine, when you read it, you go like, wow, that person's really cool. I'd like to get to know them. Look what they did with their life.
It's beautiful though. It's truly beautiful. And I just was thinking of the word. I was like, well, how do I describe this magazine? It's almost, I came up with, it's a symphony of synergy, and it's eye candy. It truly is. The pages are just beautiful, and the way the stories are told through the pictures. But
well, that's nice to say. I appreciate that.
I truly have a really important question.
Okay, go ahead, because then I have my
so
rapid
one of
fire.
your advertisers is Ferrari of Austin.
Oh.
Have you had a chance to drive one of those?
Oh, am I supposed to disclose that?
Yes, you are, Will.
Yeah, they let me use one.
They let you use
not
one.
only that, Ferrari of Austin, which was also a cold call, and they do not advertise in any other magazine.
No, Ferrari doesn't need to. They got more customers than they can handle most of the time.
Actually, it's interesting you say that, because that's kind of a profile of the ideal advertiser for us. Is if I can have the higher percentage of those advertisers that don't need us, that want us, that want to be a part of what we're doing, that's a very different relationship than a brand new business that is still getting their foundation of clients and just processes. Ferrari of Austin, they've been a great partner because they do events. Yeah. And so we're able to send some of our partners that want a date night or whatever, they'll go to the event. Some of our partners have become, Hayes City Store, Travis and Tamara over there are like consistent caterers now for the Ferrari folks and their events. But they donate for each of our fundraising galas. They've donated Ferrari for a day. Like if you win that raffle, you get the Ferrari for 8 hours. There's some age and insurance requirements, but they're community, driven. They know that, and so, we don't have a lot of car dealerships out here in Drip. The closest really that we got is out in Spicewood, and
another thing that I notice about a lot of your partners is that they're the kind of people that you build relationships with. It's not like you just hired a guy to go paint your house and you never talk to him again. These are kind of people you do business with over and over, and then you help them and they help you.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have some rapid fire questions, so we can wrap up.
We got a couple more minutes.
Okay. So some of these are yes or no, or just real quick questions. What was your favorite MRE meal?
Beef stew with jalapeno cheddar cheese.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a gut bomb.
Kuwait heat or Texas heat? What's hotter?
Kuwait heat.
Kuwait, yeah, it's dry heat.
Oh yeah, but it's hot.
This is a big one, and I'm of the position: can they both lose? The Eagles or the Chiefs?
Oh God Almighty! I can't. You follow my social. Okay. That's why you're asking that.
Pick one.
I did.
Eagles.
The Eagles. Okay.
The Eagles.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what's harder, raising boys or running a magazine?
Raising boys.
Raising boys, for sure.
I think raising kids trumps just about everything.
That's true. That's how you know you're God's favorite. He didn't give you a girl. That girl was killing me. Will, thank you so much for sitting here with us, and just we've really enjoyed your magazine for 3 years. We had the honor of being in it in your first year, and your photographer,
Kristen just did. We rebranded this year, and she took all our pictures. She did our cover art on the podcast.
Yep,
Kristen.
She did all of our pictures, and she's done my family photos and stuff like that. So
that's just what community is about, right? And what you guys have built and what you're doing it's important. So
it is,
keep doing it.
Well, we appreciate
what binds us all together, and it's one of the reasons so many people are moving here is because it is a great town to live in.
Well, and we're all here to support each other, right? Yeah. You could say, some people would say, competitors. No, we're not competitors.
We want, and I need to make that very clear. I want specifically all of the magazines in this community to thrive. The community wants. It doesn't we want people physically reading content that's relevant, supporting the advertisers of local businesses. It doesn't, like, this is a community to us, and advertisers will pick and choose where they want to be and if it's the right fit. But that's an important distinction, is we really support and love all of those publications.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
That's a great note.
There's plenty to go around if everybody just lifts each other up.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you
Will,
all.
it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Find your joy at Jovi Belterra. Life is better here. This thoughtfully designed 55-plus community is paired with resort-style amenities and social activities. They offer 1- and 2-bedroom homes located in Dripping Springs, the gateway to the Hill Country. Make friends, make memories, make time for you at Jovi Belterra. Live JoviBelterra.com, 737-387-6870.
From rodeo clowns, teachers or doctors, and everyone in between, Texans have one thing in common: hard work deserves smart banking. At Southstar Bank, whether you're buying your first home, building a dream ranch, or just managing daily finances, our 16 branches across Central Texas are here for you. Southstar Bank, trusted by professionals, backed by tradition, and built for Texas. SouthstarBank.com, member FDIC, an equal housing lender, NMLS 410624.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Get to know your local full-service Generac dealer.
Cody and Dylan with Nomic Power Solutions are a veteran-owned, Texas-based Generac dealer and installer.
Offering low monthly payment options, it's never been easier to gain independence from the grid.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Turnkey service including design, plumbing, electrical, and permits.
They even offer set-it-and-forget-it maintenance plans. Nomic Power Solutions.
Protect your home. Protect your family. Stay ready.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallet Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.